The summer you were 10 lasted forever. You can still place yourself inside it, the quality of the light, the weight of a single afternoon. School ended, and what came after stretched out further than you could see the end of. Now a year ends and you're already wondering where March went. You remember the holidays. You remember summer arriving. Somewhere in between, months of days compressed into almost nothing. You know this is happening. You can feel it speeding up. What you probably haven't considered is why. Not the philosophical version. The physical one, what is actually changing inside your brain that makes time move faster the longer you live. Scientists who study time perception ran something uncomfortable. They asked people across different decades of life to sit quietly and press a button the moment they felt a minute had passed. Everyone misjudged. But the direction of the error changed with age. Younger adults pressed early. Older adults let more time pass than they realized, without noticing the gap growing. Here's the strange part. Your brain doesn't track a minute the way a clock does. It doesn't track a year that way either. Researchers including David Eagleman, findings replicated across multiple studies, have traced this to something specific. Your brain estimates how long a stretch of time lasted by counting how much new information it had to process during it, not by checking any internal timer. Not the ticking. The filing. This isn't about memory being good or bad. It's about density, how many genuinely different moments got stored versus how many blurred into the one before it and disappeared without a trace. You already know the feeling. A single week somewhere unfamiliar can outlast a whole ordinary month once you look back on it, even though the month had 3 times as many actual days in it. A weekend away from home can outlast an entire quiet season. Ask your brain to measure how long something lasted, and it won't check a clock. It'll go looking through what it actually kept. Think of it less like a clock and more like a filing cabinet. Every experience gets a choice at the door, filed as something new or matched against a folder that already exists and waved straight through. New material takes real effort. Your brain has to build the folder from nothing page by page. Familiar material gets stamped and skipped before you've even noticed it happened. Picture 2 folders side by side on a desk. One is an inch thick, the pages slightly out of order, corners bent from handling. The other holds a single sheet of paper, still perfectly flat, never opened twice. When your brain reconstructs how long a stretch of time took, it doesn't check a timestamp anywhere. It opens the folder and counts what's actually inside it. And a folder with almost nothing in it reads as no time at all, even if a full month sits behind it. A thick folder reads as a long stretch of time. A thin one reads as almost nothing, regardless of how many days actually went by. Which is exactly why nobody's 10th summer and nobody's 40th year get filed the same way. A 10-year-old has no templates. Everything that happens to them is a genuine first. And every first has to be filed from scratch. No shortcuts, no folder to match it against. Every classroom is new material. Every teacher, every friendship negotiation, every rule about who sits where, none of it matches anything already stored, so the brain builds a folder from nothing every single time. Picture the actual room. New desk, new smell. A teacher whose voice you'd never heard before that exact morning, still finding its register in front of 30 strangers. That's the mechanism behind the long summers. Not more hours in the day. More folders getting built inside them, one per afternoon. By adulthood, most of that construction work is finished. Picture the same desk years later, the same coffee mug in the same spot, the same 3 emails before 9, the same 6-minute walk from the same parking spot. The route to work matches yesterday's route. The faces at your desk match yesterday's faces. Nothing new, so nothing filed, which is efficient. It's also why the folder stays thin. But the folder isn't the only thing working against you as the years add up. A year is not a fixed size inside your head. It's a fraction, and the denominator keeps growing every year you're alive. Here's what that fraction actually does to the way a year feels. At 5 years old, 1 year is 1/5 of your entire life so far. It's enormous, simply because there's so little yet to compare it to. Picture your whole life so far as a single ruler. At 5, 1 year covers 1/5 of it. At 45, the same 12 months barely covers a sliver near the very end. And at 80, it's a mark you could lose under your thumbnail. A year is still 365 days at 45, exactly like it was at 5. Only the ruler you're holding it up against has gotten so much longer, and it keeps getting longer every single year. That ruler effect runs quietly no matter what you do. The folder effect is different, that one you're actually making worse. The folder problem has one layer left, and it's the only part of any of this you can actually influence. It gets worse the more predictable your life becomes. The more your days repeat, the less your brain bothers telling them apart. Tuesday matches Monday closely enough to skip. This January matches last January closely enough to skip too. By December, you're trying to fill in a folder that's almost empty. A few birthdays, one trip, maybe a single bad week. Everything else got stamped already have this, on the way past, and filed nowhere at all. The months got lived. They just never made it into the folder. Which means the acceleration was never really about age at all. So here's what's actually happening when a year goes missing. Your brain ran through it on shortcut. The route was familiar, the faces were known, the work matched last year's work closely enough to skip past without a second look. The year happened. It just happened the same way 300 times in a row, and a repeated day only gets filed once, the first time back at the start of the pattern before it became a pattern at all. That's why December hands you back a handful of standout moments and calls the rest a blank. A folder stamped and filed under something that already existed, then never opened again. And it runs both directions. A year where you moved, changed jobs, or did one thing you'd never done before comes back thick in memory, because every piece of it had to be filed from scratch in real time with nothing already stored to match it against. The summer you were 10 lasted forever, because it was thick with things your brain had never filed before. Every year since that felt short was mostly the same day, worn smooth by repetition. Filed once, skipped every time after, indistinguishable from the one before it. So the next time a year ends and you're already wondering where March went, check the folder, not the calendar. The months got lived on a route you already knew, and a known route doesn't leave much behind. A new place leaves a thick folder. A new skill leaves one too. A conversation with a stranger, a wrong turn that became a shortcut. Anything your brain has no template for gets filed in full, and a thick folder is what a long year actually feels like looking back. Time doesn't actually speed up. The brain just stops being surprised by anything, and an archive that isn't growing feels like it barely happened. Every year lived the same way as the last adds a little less to what you can count back through. Nothing changes, so it feels like nothing did.